Sometimes the world feels like it's running on smoke and mirrors, illusions cast by those in power, dressed up in the language of opportunity, progress, or protection. Today, the headlines are humming with that familiar tune. There's a peculiar optimism in the air, the kind that clings to numbers on screens, stock indices rising, the dollar flexing its muscles. And yet, if you lean in close enough, you can hear the static, the tension beneath the melody. The shift in tariff policy from the Trump administration has triggered the expected economic fanfare. Markets rejoice, algorithms cheer, and the usual titans, Tesla, Nvidia, and their ilk, glide upward on the charts like dancers in a carefully choreographed ballet. It's not exactly surprising. Announce a softer stance on trade with China, and suddenly it's as if we've collectively forgotten how we got here in the first place. The promise that final tariffs won't climb to a suffocating 145%, and that eventually the baseline 10% might shrink. But the world isn't made of promises, it's made of what people feel. And right now, the average American isn't celebrating. They're watching prices creep, bills pile, and inflation linger like an unwelcome guest who won't take the hint. That disconnect between the stagecraft of economic performance and the lived reality of most citizens is something we can't ignore. In fact, it's starting to crack the facade. Recent polls suggest the sheen of optimism that once surrounded this administration's economic policy is dulling. There's growing dissatisfaction, a sense that beneath all the growth projections and Wall Street applause, something isn't quite right. Perhaps it's the suspicion that we're not moving forward but spinning in circles, high on the fumes of speculative recovery, while the ground beneath continues to shift. And as the spotlight shines on America's fiscal performance over in Delhi, another stage is being set, one of urgency, not performance. A terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir has thrown the Indian capital into high alert. This isn't some abstract foreign news bite, it's a vivid reminder of the volatility that pulses just beneath the surface in regions too often overlooked. Delhi's monuments, markets, and metro stations are now watched with hawk-like vigilance, not out of paranoia but necessity. In a world obsessed with clicks and dopamine hits, real threats demand real attention. And sometimes the algorithms aren't enough. Then somewhere entirely different, a forest, not a city, New Jersey is burning. A wildfire, possibly the largest the state has seen in decades, is consuming land and headlines alike. It's not just a local disaster, it's a metaphor. While we squabble over tariffs and tech stocks, the earth beneath us cracks and blazes, demanding that we remember what's truly at stake. These fires, literal and metaphorical, are connected. Climate neglect, economic misdirection, political gamesmanship, they all feed the same inferno. Meanwhile, in stadiums flooded with light and roaring fans, the world plays on. Rohit Sharma reminds us that sometimes a perfectly struck cricket ball can silence the noise, if only for a moment. In Connecticut, Gino Auriemma's sparkling legacy in women's basketball isn't just about trophies. It's about excellence, persistence, and yes, joy. These moments matter. Not because they distract us from reality, but because they show us what's possible when focus, passion, and leadership collide. Elsewhere, people escape not with bats or balls, but with pixels and possibility. The fashion-fueled fantasy game, Infinity Nikki, has taken over timelines, a surreal mirror to our world where style is power, and the stakes are emotional, not economic. And yet, even in that playful universe, the desire for identity, control, and beauty reminds us just how universal those longings are. So when users on social media pair their selfies with their celebrity bias, it's not just a game, it's a digital ritual of self-discovery and belonging in a world that often feels too big, too noisy, too cold. Even when we fly, seeking something close to freedom, we're grounded by absurdity. Imagine paying 4,000 rupees to be trapped in a flying metal tube, swatting away mosquitoes mid-air. That's not the future we were promised. But it is the one that headlines sometimes deliver, where absurd inconveniences become the story, not because they're dramatic, but because they're relatable. Because even in the age of space tourism, we can't get the bugs out of a domestic flight. And so, today's stories swirl like a cocktail. Bitter, sweet, smoky, and strange. Economic optimism laced with doubt. Security ramped up under skies already tense. Flames where there should be forests. Games that let us dream. Selfies that search for truth. And through it all, a reminder that behind every data point is a person, a family, a life. That's what I want to leave you with. Not just the news, but the feeling. Because headlines fade, but how they make us feel, that stays. So if any of this sparked a thought, made you pause, made you laugh, or shake your head, let me know. Let's talk in the comments. And don't forget, if you're into stories like these, where we peel back the curtain and talk about what's really going on, you know what to do. like, comment, subscribe. The algorithm may run the show, but here, the soul of the story still matters.